IQ. I'm Scarlett.
I'm Katie. And Scarlett, we have a big week ahead of us.
Right. You've got earnings, you've got the Fed, you've got the Treasury quarterly refinancing agreement.
And you also have job side.
Oh, yeah. The week.
At the end of the week.
Gosh.
It's going to be fun. Buckle up and let's right now get to the biggest stories in the more than $10 trillion global ETF industry. And we start with ESG. As we know, it did not get a lot of love in 2023, but with some record outflows, maybe we're starting to finally see a new leaf this year.
Plus, we'll keep the energy going. We'll speak with Tim Rotolo of Range Fund Holdings on his newly launched commodity ETFs.
And in just a few moments, we're going to speak with Douglas Bonaparte. He is president of Wealth. We're going to talk about issues including Bitcoin ETFs and rates. And this is really exciting because he's a social media celebrity. Scarlett, I am so excited to find out he's a real person. But before we do that, as always, we have Eric Balchunas from Bloomberg Intelligence here with us now looking at the flows. Eric, what do you got?
Thank you, Katie. Scarlett. Yes.
Welcome back to Bloomberg ETF IQ. I'm Katie Greifeld. Time now for the ETF brief, where I walk you through the trends and the stories that caught my eye in the ETF industry. And we start with quiet, heavy hands of model portfolios. Of course, BlackRock tweaking their model portfolio allocation. They're going from growth into value. You're taking a look at on the top there. That's their value fund, taking in a ton of money. So too is DYNF, as Eric walked us through a little bit earlier. That is their factor rotation fund, concentrating their factor bets. So that's what's going on in model portfolios. Let's talk about something fun. Let's talk about those Jim Cramer ETF.
Intelligence. That chart, ESGU losing $8.5 billion over 2023. Why ESGU?
Scarlett, it's likely ESGU came out of model portfolios, so it automatically saw that allocation come. The real question is, was it due to ESG or was it due to just allocative changes? I think that's up for speculation. What I always say is, if the money comes back in, I think it was just allocative, but if it never comes back in, it's probably ESG, and we're getting to a point where it's not coming in. So.
Well, to your point on model portfolios, I mean, we just saw that with some of these value and these quality funds as well. So we saw what it looked like on record outflows. Of course, just a few funds really driving everything. If the tables did turn and we saw big inflows, do you think it would be a similar dynamic where it's just a handful?
Oh, yes. We saw last year as well. So the other two funds that actually saw outflows were ESG funds, but they got reallocated into climate. So it's sort of net positive, but these two climate funds seeing $4 billion in inflows.
The start of the calendar year shows something a little bit different because ESG ETF flows did turn positive in the last about $2.36 billion. I know that's a far cry from what we saw in 2023, but how do you read that slight recovery in light of the big withdrawals in 2023?
So we have to divide that by regions. So the $2.3 billion that we saw was not U.S. domiciled. So overall, U.S. is still negative, but global is still positive. And if you slice that, it's still sort of trajectory going forward.
How are people thinking about the label of ESG? Obviously, we talk about politicization all the time. It feels like the ESG label has gotten a little controversial, if you want to call it that.
I think it's becoming more and more controversial. I think my take is what we're doing is not changing, right? The underlying ESG, sustainable, whatever you want to call it, it's not changing. So why sort of pull our hair out on the label? That's my take, at least.
Yeah, maybe something more new, like rational sustainability has gained a lot of traction.
There you go.
Really bland and really boring.
Rolls
but
off the tongue, too.
Maybe that's what it takes. All right, Shaheen Contractor, thank you so much. Shaheen is with Bloomberg Intelligence. Now, still ahead, we drill down into energy with Tim Rotolo of Range Fund Holdings. This is ETF IQ on Bloomberg. This is ETF IQ. I'm Scarlett Fu, along with Katie Greifeld.
And Eric Balchunas from Bloomberg Intelligence, back with us now for today's drill down, where we focus on one ETF. Eric, hit it.
Katie, today we have coal.
3 minutes into the UA on this Monday, January 29th. Here are the top stories we're following. The best week of the year so far. Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, and Apple headline a huge week of earnings. And not to mention, we also get a Fed decision and a jobs report in the coming days, so buckle up. Betting on sports gambling. FanDuel parent Flutter CEO Peter Jackson. He joins us from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. As the company shares start trading in the U.S., more on the competitive landscape for all these betting companies with the Super Bowl weeks away. And the real estate landscape after a year of upheaval across the entire real estate sector. Where are the opportunities? We'll discuss with Kane Anderson CEO Al Rabel in our Wall Street Week daily segment.